Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, The Real Super Sam. Today is my first movie review on this channel and I hope you enjoy. Child's Play 2019 is a reimagining of the classic 1988 horror movie by the same name. I absolutely love this movie. It has been 24 hours since I've seen it while writing this and I can say I give it a solid 9 out of 10. I place it in the top 5 Child's Play movies for sure. I mean, there's only 8 so far. Before I go into the context of the movie, I kind of want to tell you about my experience. So I always go to the AMC theater that's like 2 minutes away from where I live. I don't know why online it seems like people hate it. I have no problems with it at all. When I went to see the movie, there was only one other person there, then later a few more entered. Like, it seems where I live, people hate going to the theater here in South Washington State. To my surprise, even being a rated hard R movie, there was a mom and her little girl and a dad and his little girl. The girls couldn't have been over the age of 13 or 14. Was the actual movie scary? I think I'm personally a scaredy cat because I was creeped out. The whole movie was under 90 minutes though. The movies I love to watch and I will always watch over and over again are movies that affect me in real life, whether it be inspirational like Spider-Man 2 or makes me think about a lot, and Child's Play 2019 had me think about a little, especially about two concepts with the movie, each as big as the other. One is an AI taking over humans' lives and another one I will talk about later since it's kinda spoilery. The movie didn't have a lot of action, except for the kills, which were great. Really good death scenes that were given love. Surprisingly, this movie had a lot of humor. There's two moments that, if I wasn't in the theater watching it, I would have laughed out loud, because it was so unexpected. This is what I think a lot of you want to hear about, the look of the new Chucky doll. He actually gets his name to be Chucky because of a glitch. That was a really cheap way to call him Chucky, I think. The Buddy dolls are seen as more as devices in the movie than actual toys, and I think that's something that saved this look for Chucky. The best way I have heard this Chucky look to be described is that Chucky is like an ugly dog. Honestly, at the start, Andy doesn't even care about the Buddy doll after he sees it. Then he and his mom Karen start turning it on and teasing about the doll. The Buddy doll does not change throughout the movie. He doesn't not get a new body in a Buddy 2 unveiling. He does take the Buddy 2s over in the finale, but that's it. The doll looked creepy as all hell and did some really freaky jump scare stuff. It appeared out of seemingly nowhere to talk to somebody or play audio of someone else talking, but other than that, when it was just moving normally, it wasn't very horror theme heavy. The doll moves very slowly, definitely slower than OG Chucky. I mean, they knock him down one time with a pillow. The look looked great for the story of an AI doll going bonkers. In fact, the doll seemed super realistic, like I believe a real Buddy doll, moving and looking and talking like this, could be made in the next 10 years. Now, the next things I will talk about will be spoiler heavy. The first thing I want to talk about is Chucky's origin. The movie starts with an ad about buying the Buddy doll, showing us everything it's supposed to do. Like, they have the doll sit in front of a crib with a sleeping baby, and it sings the Buddy song. Then it says that it has strict safety precautions, leading to a workshop for the dolls at Vietnam, and a worker we see gets slapped in the face as he finishes his last Buddy doll, and he is going to get fired and going back to the street. So he kind of gets his revenge by tinkering with the Buddy doll and causing all the barriers and filters to be turned off so it can be violent. Then the factory worker jumps off the building onto a car and commits suicide. And during that night, there's lightning in the air. It's very cheesy and campy. It reminds me of the weather from the start of the first movie, actually. Then, as it's being moved with the other dolls, the doors close, the red eyes light up, and the title card appears. Now that got me hyped. After it starts up when it gets back to present day, it goes really different from the original movie. For example, somebody returns the Chucky doll for a refund, and Karen gets to keep it because she sort of blackmails the shipping guy. Anyway, any big problem I could have had with the movie story, they addressed it during the movie point blank. Like when Andy gets the doll, he is disappointed because it's for kids, and in 3 weeks, the Buddy 2 is coming out anyway. When Andy and his mom activate the Buddy doll for the first time, it starts entirely new. It doesn't have any previous knowledge or imprint. This doll glitches a lot to start, which makes it funny to see work, since he messes up on talking and doing simple stuff. Like, this doll is supposed to learn and adapt to the owners, the best buddies day, and for example, he says Andy has forgotten his science book, but he hands him a piece of toilet paper, or he tries to make him a present, but just gives him a broken popsicle stick with a ribbon on it. This Chucky is just trying to do what he is programmed for, but messes up, and I think he messes up partly because his owner doesn't really care about him at the start. Well, how does Chucky turn evil? I didn't view Chucky as pure evil at all in this movie, but just needing help. There's a great scene where Andy and his new friends are having fun and laughing while watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So Chucky is actually there, seeing that his best buddy is having great fun watching these people on screen get cut up. So he leaves, all by himself actually, and grabs the kitchen knife and starts walking slowly to his friend Chubbs, the fat funny one, and tries to cut him. They all freak out and knock Chucky down. Chucky then accidentally cuts Andy and hurts him. When that happens, Chucky stops and is truly sorry he hurt Andy. The scene when the cat happens to scratch Andy, then Chucky strangles the cat, so Andy then starts telling Chucky doing stuff like that isn't good. And later, there's the moment when Karen puts Chucky in a cabinet for the night and Chucky bangs against the door, waking Andy up. That morning, he goes to the cabinet and sees a hole was punched through the glass and Chucky has left. Then as Andy opens the door, we see Chucky standing up in the reflection of the glass. Then Andy looks at him and we see Chucky has killed the cat with a knife. He did it so with the cat gone, he thinks he and Andy can now continue playing. The cat was always blurry, we only saw half of its limp body. Andy throws away the body and starts being cautious around Chucky, and then later he kills Karen's boyfriend after Andy has used Chucky to prank him a bit, and Chucky by himself used his power of recording voice to play in front of him that Andy said that he was an asshole. He then pushes around Andy and yells at him right in front of Chucky, and that night Chucky follows him back to his house where we see actually he has a family, and then he brutally kills him. After this, Chucky brings back his head that Andy cut off, with the eyes put on a watermelon. He actually cut off his face and put it on a watermelon. Sorry about that. Did that because he thought Andy would like it. Andy freaks out and realizes he has to kill Chucky. This is when we feel bad for Chucky. Chucky actually just says and does everything he has seen and heard, so he is just like a misguided child. And he tricks and betrays Chucky, and they hit him and then pull out his heart, his power source out of his chest, killing him. But while doing that, Chucky makes this really sad innocent face and tells Andy to quote, "Stop, why are you trying to hurt me, Andy? Please." It is a really emotional scene. Andy doesn't want to kill Chucky either, but he has to. That's when they throw him away, and the creepy repair guy in their building, who looks like Jack Black actually, sees Chucky in the trash and rebuilds him with a new power source, bringing him back to life at max power. Chucky then sees the hidden creepy spy cameras the guy is looking at and the moment to look at Karen in the shower. He then messes with the guy, and the best kill in the movie happens. After that, Chucky is just again after Andy to be his best friend again, and nothing will stand in his way. One thing I have to say is we see Chucky grow really smart in the 3 weeks the movie story takes place on. He starts by glitching and can't even get names right, to being able to control a bunch of other AI dolls and track people and formulate plans to stay alive. The movie does set up for a sequel, which I think will be happening because we see a buddy doll at the end with the group smile and have red eyes. Then the credits roll. I agree with what 3C Films said because it's true. So at the end of the movie, Chucky has a doll he controls with blue eyes say stuff that leads Andy down a hall to where his mom is getting hung with a forklift. But then another Chucky doll hits Andy on the head, knocking him out. The one doll that was leading him to his mom never got destroyed in the final moment, so I think that doll is the one Chucky is still in, and the one in the final moment that gets shot and eventually burnt was a, so to say, clone of Chucky, leading him to stay alive and find Andy again for the sequel. I have been thinking about this movie a lot, and there are some really good lessons to get from this movie. The first one is AI and tech taking over our lives. This one is pretty obvious, but there is a moment when Karen's boyfriend is getting killed. Then he falls off his ladder, he breaks his legs. It's a cool effect, and he screams. And when he screams, we cut the inside, where his kids are right in front of the window, but wearing noise-canceling headphones. The other message, this one I really liked because it is really true, is what I viewed as raising kids right. Chucky sees that this violence made his master happy and didn't understand because he was just starting to learn things, and he made a mistake of doing dangerous things with a knife to be funny. What was the stuff that happened that made me scared of this Chucky? Number one, his design. Wow, it is so creepy and ugly. I think they had to make the look really different. That's partly why, but still, I don't care if he is doing stuff with love that's good. He is still scary looking. Another reason in this moment, when Andy first comes home after getting Chucky, and right when he opens the door, Chucky is just standing there waiting for him. Whoa. Then, there are moments when the doll appears on the shelf or a table in like 3 seconds of time. I have no idea how he got up there, even now. The last creepy moment was in the last, or really third big kill, and it seemed like he just appeared in the car. He AI controlled the crash with no opening, like the Terminator. Just thinking of this stuff after seeing the movie gives me the heebie-jeebies. But still, this was more funny than scary. Right when Chucky is about to stab Karen's boyfriend, whose name is Shane, I think, He says when he was told to say in a previous moment when he was making stabbing movements with a pen from Andy's buddy in the movie, he stabs the guy and says, "This is for Tupac." The funniest line in the movie. I mean, I didn't laugh out loud because I was in a movie theater in public with other people who also didn't laugh, but I wouldn't have either way. But wow, it was the number one standout moment of the film for funniness. There's another funny moment of the film where Detective Mike Norris's mom, who was a great new character they added. I was actually glad we got her as a new person instead of Aunt Maggie, who was never seen or even referenced to be in this movie universe. Mike's mom is being taught by Andy about the Buddy app, who Mike at first thinks is a dating app, lol, and orders a self-driving Caslin car to take her to Bingo, which is by Zedmar actually. And Chucky is after her because she said a one-off line about Andy being her best friend, and Chucky sees it on the creepy guy's hidden cameras. This was the moment where Chucky killed, and it was like he turned to the dark side. Anyway, Mike's mom is arriving, seeing her friends waiting outside the bingo place, and she's waving and bragging and laughing about this new awesome car she's being drove in and how futuristic it is. But then it all turns red and starts spinning everywhere out of control, and her friends are like, "Peace," and leave. If you could have seen it, I find it so freaking funny. This movie was pretty campy and very, very meta. It was still really smart and did what they did well. They never addressed how Chucky was still working without being charged up at any time in the movie. And something I didn't even think of until the night after I saw it, they never once hinted or had even addressed hitting Chucky with water to stop him. Nothing about throwing him in the bathtub or sink. The actors were all great. I wish Karen and Mike got more time. Mike was the best character besides Andy and Chucky. Luckily, on the ending, they was probably have much more time together in the sequel. About Andy's dad, it seemed like he left when Andy was really young, so he could return in the sequel maybe. Mark Hamill was a really good voice for Chucky. It got the job done, but they could have gotten someone else and it wouldn't have taken anything away from me. He was hired for mostly his name recognition, but hey, that's what I thought. The budget was actually only $5 million, and while I am writing this part, it has made $14 million in the first 2 days. For a hard rated R horror movie, I think that's good. Actually, it is a family fun movie. It is just all the bad words that made it get rated R and the kills. Now for the things I thought would happen early in the marketing for this movie that I want to talk about because they were really interesting ideas that they could have put in this movie. One was an Easter egg of Charles Lee Ray at least, either for the factory worker having that name because he is the one who kind of hacks Chucky and causes him to turn evil at the start. Well, not really, but he's kind of his origin story. Or maybe for Andy's dad names to be Charles, and that's why he named the Buddy doll Chucky. Another one would be a real unique connections with Caslin and Andy's family. My thought was for the head of Caslin, the guy who's seen the promos, to be Andy's uncle, and Karen to be working at Caslin. The uncle, wanting some small revenge for his brother, Karen's ex-husband, who now has a boyfriend, gives her a questionable Chucky doll, maybe for a bit of money. Another one is for the bully and later becomes friends with to turn out to be Detective Mike Norris's son. It could seem like a little profiling, and it is dumb to say now, but back when we just saw the set pictures, it did seem really cool. Another was that Chucky was going to get a new body and be in the Buddy too, getting rid of his old body for good. Those were just some ideas I thought of that could expand the series into new territory. They never really denied some of these, except my second idea. If I was to say something for the sequel, I'm actually thinking Chucky returns in a Buddy 3 doll. Any spoilers I gave or stuff I feel you could easily get from the trailers left a lot of moments out, and a lot of what I said has been leaked onto YouTube, so that many of you have probably already seen it maybe. There's a lot of great moments I left out, okay. Anyways, 15 years after the last Child's Play movie, Seed of Chucky, was shown in theaters, this one did it justice, and then some. It was different, it was interesting, thought-provoking, funny, sad, suspenseful, exciting. It was a great movie by today's standards. By my standards, this was my favorite Child's Play movie ever. You heard me right, this is my favorite Child's Play movie out of all of them. Second to Child's Play 2, the first Child's Play movie I've seen in theaters, and it became my number one Child's Play movie. I had so much fun watching this horror movie. It was a great 90 minutes of my life. This movie is not getting enough credit in my opinion. It was really, really perfect. Or at least, good enough to be seen in theaters once. With all that said and done, thank you all for watching. Bye guys, and have a great day.